So Federer and Istomin, they're facing off in the first round of Roland Garros. Now, this year, as I've said, Federer has only played 2 tournaments. He hasn't played a whole lot. He's only played 1 tournament on hardcourt, one on clay. In the first one on hardcourt, he reached the quarterfinals, so a little bit encouraging. He lost to Bezalers really after high match points, so he could have won that, but he didn't. So he would have been disappointed because he had a chance to win that. But it doesn't look so bad considering that he managed to actually he won the tournament, so it doesn't look as bad. In Geneva, that was a clay court tournament. He played in Geneva, and he lost in the first round to Andujar in 3 sets after being a breakup in the third. So, not really encouraging as well going into French Open. But as we know that he always raises his level for the Slam. So we'll see if he can do that again here. Now his opponent has been more on the Challenger Tour this year. He hasn't really played as well on the Challenger Tour. He's lost a lot of opening round matches. However, he was able, in qualifying, he's had some really encouraging signs. He won 3 qualifying matches, and the last 2 were particularly impressive. So it's showing that he could be slowly getting back to the level we saw him back in 2017, especially in the qualifying matches he played, especially in the last 2 qualifying matches. He was really good. He played really well in all those. So we'll see, can he raise his level, because he's going to have to if he wants to beat Roger on the other side. Now, they've met 7 times, and Federer has won all their meetings. They've won all their meetings. They've never met on clay, though, so that's going to be interesting. The most recent meeting was in 2019. Federer won that one in straight sets. So I think that it's going to be another Federer win. I think that while his opponent played really well in qualifying, I think that Federer will still be able to win. I think it's actually going to be 4 sets because I think that he's going to need a set to adjust. I don't think it's going to be straight sets because his opponent has the advantage of qualifying matches. His opponent has the advantage of being more accustomed to the surface because he's played qualifying really well. Federer hasn't even stepped on the court, at least for Roland Garros. So I think it's going to be a 4-set match, but I think Federer can come through. I think he'll raise his level for the Slam. So I'm going to pick him to win it in 4 sets. So Sam Querrey and John Isner, they're facing off in the first round of Roland Garros. Now Sam Querrey, he's not had the best season this year. He hasn't competed much on the clay. He only competed in one event, and that was in the challenge in Italy in the Pharma event, and he lost to Nishioka in 3 sets. But there were some encouraging signs, so we'll see if maybe he can use that to his advantage on the clay, especially knowing that he leads Isner in the head-to-head. Now Isner also has had some encouraging signs. He made the quarterfinals of the Madrid Open, so he defeated some good players. He defeated Rublev and Bautista Agut, so he had some good signs there. So he has played decently this year on the clay, but that was the only clay court tournament he played. So similar to Querrey, he hasn't played much on the clay. He only played 1 tournament, and that was in Madrid, and that was where he made the quarterfinals. But he had some good results there. Now, they had met a bunch before. They've met 8 times, I believe, and Querrey leads the head-to-head 5-3. So Querrey actually has the head-to-head lead, and Querrey won their only clay court meeting in Serbia, in Belgrade. And so that's going to be interesting because Querrey actually, they've met on clay once, and that meeting Querrey won, but that was a long time ago, so it didn't have much relevance, but it may still have a little relevance. Sometimes head-to-head wins determine the styles of the 2 players. So I think that Querrey will win this match. I think so because against Nishioka, I feel like I saw some encouraging signs in the match. He seemed to be showing that maybe he's getting back to his best slightly. There's been some signs of life. So I'm going to pick Querrey to win it. I think it's going to be in 4 sets. And I'm sure that there's going to be at least 1 tiebreak in this match. This match will be very little breaks of serve. It's going to be a really serve-dominated encounter because both men have big serves. So it's going to be a very serve-dominating encounter. But I think it's going to be Querrey that mirrors this in 4 sets. So Lorenzo Musetti and David Goffin are facing off in the first round of Roland Garros. Now, Musetti this year has had a couple of good wins. Most notably in Acapulco, he was able to reach the semis of that tournament. He was able to do well there. He beat seasoned players like Schwartzman and Dimitrov, so good wins for him. He lost Tsitsipas in straight sets. In the recent tournament he played in Lyon, he was able to take a set off Tsitsipas. He lost in 3, but still he was able to do well, take that first set. So he's done pretty well on the clay court. He's had some good wins on the clay court. He beat Hurkacz. He beat Auger-Aliassime as well. He was also able to beat Dan Evans, who's in good form. So he's had some good performances. He also reached the quarterfinals of Sardinia, not to forget. So we'll add that too. He's been in pretty good form, especially for his standards, because he's a young rising player and he's really been in good form so far. Now, Goffin has had, I would say, an up and down season. He's not been in his best form so recently, but he has been in decent form. He did do well in France, and he Open Tour de France. He won that tournament, and he also was able to have some good wins. He beat Alexander Zverev in Monte Carlo, reached the quarterfinal of that. So he's had up and down. Some tournaments he does well, some tournaments he doesn't do well. So we'll see whether he can do well at Roland Garros. Now, they've never met. This is the first encounter between the two players, so their head-to-head right now is 0-0. So I think that Musetti will win this because I think he's in better form than Goffin. And I think that last year Goffin lost to Sinner, who was a rising youngster as well. I think that I see the same thing happening to him again. So I'm going to pick Musetti to spring the upset. I'm going to pick it. I think it's likely. I believe it's going to be a 4-set match. But I think that Musetti is going to spring the upset in 4 sets. So Riley Opelka and Andre Martin, they're facing off in the first round of the French Open. Now, Opelka has had a decent clay court season. He was able to make the semis of Rome, which was a little bit surprising because he was on a losing streak, but he was able to make the semis, so that was a surprising run. But he managed to make the semis. He defeated all his opponents without dropping a set. Pretty impressive. Lost to Nadal in straight sets, but they were close. 6-4, 6-4. They were close sets. But he lost early in Geneva and lost early in Madrid. So Rome, he even said it himself that it was a fluke. I don't think he expected to go that deep, but he managed to go deep. And now he's in the French Open. He plays Andre Martin, and he'll be happy a little because Andre Martin just came off Belgrade. He may be a little tired. His opponent is actually at his best on the terre battue. He's at his best on the clay courts. He made the semis of Belgrade. He took a set off the world number 1. So that was a really encouraging performance from Martin. He took a set off Novak Djokovic. He also has played in little events and challenger events, and he didn't do so well in those events either. One of them he didn't even qualify, so he's not even really been in the best form so far this year. But he turned it around in Belgrade, and we'll see if he can keep that form up. Now, they've never met before, so I believe that they have a 0-0 head-to-head record right now. Now, my prediction is I think that Opelka will win this. I think that while Martin is a good player, I think that Opelka will win because he's just better. Simply, I would say he has the better fitness. We won't be as tired because he didn't play recently, while Martin has to deal with jet lag and everything like that. So I'm going to pick Opelka to win. I think it's going to be 4 sets because Martin is a great clay court player, but I think it's going to be Opelka to win this in a 4-set match.